Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about alloy art pan lights. Alloy art is cranking these things out right here in America. These are made of super high quality aluminum. Let's kind of look at one, we'll parse it apart, take a peek about why this might be their light for you. So first things first, this is made of aluminum. It's super heavy duty. This thing actually has a lot of heft to it. It's kind of surprising. When you think of an aluminum part, you typically think of something that's going to be very light and airy feeling. And boy, these are not it. These are super solid, super chunky. I would feel great about having one of these on the front of my bike. I have a feeling this thing can probably take a couple bugs to it and hold up okay. So the finish on here, it's kind of hard to tell in some of the product photos, but it's actually a spun finish on the outside. Much like if you have a wheel with a machined lip, this is going to be very similar with just those very fine lines cut into it. Really is a nice looking exterior, and I think you have a couple of ways you can go with this. You can leave it as is. This will take on a little bit of patina over time. It'll oxidize just a little bit. I think too, if you were so inclined, you could hit this little sandpaper and actually bring it out to like a bright polish if that was something that interested you too. Again, being this is a custom headlight for custom applications, I'm expecting some of you are going to play around a little bit with these and not run them box stock necessarily. Moving to the front side of this thing, it's not your typical sealed beam headlight. This actually does use a halogen capsule style bulb that is replaceable. You'll also notice too this cool bezel. It's flat, and I also really like the fact they used countersunk Allen head screws here. It gives a nice finished flat appearance to the front of this thing. Now, as far as the actual wiring is concerned, this is your standard 3-wire setup. So those of you who have ever wired a high-low headlight before, you should have absolutely no problem getting this thing wired up. They do have spade connectors already included here for you. You can clip these and use your own custom plug, or you can go ahead and utilize these with a standard headlight connector. So one of the things I do want to bring up about this, and I would say this is my nit to pick with these, this is my problem with these, is the size. So you're looking at a 4.5 and a 5 3/4 here. They also offer this thing in a 7-inch headlight for those of you with a larger front end. Those of you maybe with a Fat Boy style nacelle, the 7-inch is probably going to be what you're going to be looking at. But the thing I don't really love about these is the size. So you notice this is the 4.5 headlight, and the 4.5 that they're measuring there is really only that glass portion. So there's almost 1/2 inch of bezel on either side. So the 4.5 actually winds up being more like a 5.5. The smallest headlight they make is actually very close in size to a standard Sportster headlight. It's something to think about. Account for a little extra size if you do happen to be ordering one of these, because it's not going to be exactly what you're expecting, I think, if you're anything like me. Similarly here too with the larger light, the 5 3/4, you're going to see this thing is almost an inch larger. So it's not necessarily a terrible thing as long as you have room in your build to have something that's a little bit wider. It's going to fill up that area between the fork tubes just a little bit better. Installation on these, as I said, is not going to be terribly hard for most of you. These do mount to a standard headlight mounting block, a standard Harley block. So those of you who have one on your bike, if you already have a bottom mounted headlight, you can just swap out and all you have left to do is wiring. Those of you who maybe have a top mount headlight or something working out of an eyebrow, or those of you on a metric bike, it's a little bit different, you are going to have to engineer some way to get this thing onto your bike in a stable way. Typically for most of you that's going to involve drilling a hole through your triple tree, and you're going to wind up mounting a headlight block that way. Then everybody has to go ahead and do their wiring. Shouldn't be too difficult, as I said. It's a basic 3-wire hookup. You should already have wires out to your existing headlight. If you're using this on a custom build, obviously you know that you're going to need to wire your headlight. Shouldn't be too hard. I would say for most of you, this is probably going to be a 2-beard project. You'll probably be in the garage for somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour and 30 minutes, but most of you should be on the road cooking with this thing very shortly thereafter with a minimum of tools and just a little basic knowledge on how to use a voltmeter. I think Alloy Art's made a really nice light here. They're super heavy, super well crafted, and they definitely don't look like anything else out there. The only knock I have against them, again, is that size issue, and as long as you plan either your build or you know that these are going to fit nicely inside of your tubes, you should have a really, really nice looking headlight setup with a set of these. My opinion, though, is not the only one that matters. Click below, check out some rider reviews, learn a little bit more about the Alloy Art pan light. If you have questions that I didn't cover, get a hold of us. You can get a Gear Geek via email, cs@revzilla.com, or you can also get us by phone, 877-792-9455. I'm Lemmy, I'm out of here.